Well, because that piece of equipment is owned by Transocean, we perform the maintenance on it, we perform the inspections on it, and we...
Okay, so you're ultimately responsible. So it has to be fully functioning and capable. Was this capable of cutting the pipe at any point? There are numerous reports saying that probably 10% of the pipe being used at those depths where it's joined, that most blowout or many blowout preventers today cannot sever that pipe. Could this one sever the pipe at any point? Yes or no?
Most shear rams are not designed to sever tool joints, which are the segments that join joints of drilling pipe together.
So, and 10% of the pipe is composed of that. So doesn't that give us a possibility of failure even if the ram works?
It depends on what's across the ram.
Yeah, but are there rams that can shear the more reinforced areas of pipe?
Most shear rams are not designed to shear tool joints.
Are there some that can do that?
I'm not aware of any that are.
Okay, so we're operating at these depths with these BOPs, and there's some 10% of the pipe that if it happens to be going, that's in the section of the blowout preventer. Even if everything worked, which it didn't, you can't shear the pipe, so you can't shut it off. So what good's the blowout preventer at that point? It's not going to work, right? And you're aware of that. Now, BP, though, of course, is the responsible party here. Is that correct? Ultimately, even though they're working for you under federal law, you are ultimately the responsible party.
We are the leaseholder, and under that, we are a responsible party under the oil spill.
Okay, so if we have rams that are not capable of, on a 10% of the pipe, of cutting the pipe, and there were other malfunctions that have been documented in other hearings, do you think you're fully met all the federal standards, and you are totally responsible by putting a blowout preventer down there, which is not capable some certain percentage of the time of cutting the pipe?
If I can segregate two things.
Well, just if you answer quickly, I don't have much time.
We're a responsible party for the spill cleanup and all the damages. I think there's a question as to what happened that caused the explosion.
I know, but if you're contracting with someone, you're contracting with a company based in the Marshall Islands, so you can get a cheaper deal on your daily rate. Now, the question to you is, so they're responsible for the blowout preventer, but you contracted with them. And you're aware there was a report by one of your own engineers in 2007. He was a co-author saying the use of higher strength, higher toughness drill pipe has in some cases exceeded the capacity of some BOP shear rams to successfully and or reliably shear drill pipe. How can you be doing this? That means that these things don't work. At least part of the time, they're never going to work. Even if everything else goes well, it's not going to shut off the well.
Our job and what we do is we design the well as leaseholder. Transocean's job is to construct the well as operator of that drilling rig. We spec out the well with the casing design and the design of the well.
But ultimately, you're responsible, and the oil's coming up out of your lease. Even if this is unknown to you that these things can't shear through this thicker section of pipe? You never heard of this before?
It's not unknown to me. I've heard it through.
Okay, so doesn't that concern you? Because then the thing can't work.
I will acknowledge, I think all of this has to be looked at in the investigations, and I think we're going to learn.
Because, see, I'm concerned by your use of the word legitimate, and I'm worried about what happened with Exxon and what happened to the folks in Alaska, and you keep using the word legitimate claims. And I'm wondering, if you're not claiming the cap now, but you're sort of reserving the right maybe later.
No, I've not. I've been clear from day one with every committee I've testified to.
Okay. So you would then say that having a blowout preventer that is incapable at least part of the time of shutting off a well would mean that's either gross negligence or willful misconduct, or you didn't meet the federal safety construction or operating regulations. Do the feds require these things work all the time, or do they say, we don't care if it doesn't work part of the time?
I think the regulations stipulate what needs to be done.
And it should be capable of cutting the pipe at any point.
Well, I don't think that's the way it's stated, but I think that's what's got to be looked at. I do think there's going to be some changes made. Absolutely.
Yeah, I know, but we're going to get a big problem here. One other quick question about the dispersants that are being used. There are other dispersants, and your company has said it was availability that led you to use this particular dispersant. There are others that EPA measures as more effective on this grade of oil and less toxic. Why aren't you using those? Because I'm concerned about what's in the water column here and what we're not seeing.
We're using the pre-approved dispersants. I believe
there are 13 pre-approved, but there are some that are less toxic and more effective on this. It comes from a company in which you don't have anyone sitting on the board. This is coming from a company where you do have someone sitting on the board.
I'm not aware of whether there are products that are more effective or not.
Well, the EPA has rated them, actually, as to type of oil, usage, and toxicity.
Yes, we're following you through Unified Command of what dispersants Unified Command believes would be the best dispersants to use. I know they're testing other dispersants with this oil, and if there are better ones to use, we will definitely use them.
Well, there is a list, and there's something called Disperse It, which is theoretically half as toxic and considerably more effective on this sort of this grade of oil, and I'd urge you to look at that.
I definitely will.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.